Hi, my name's Ephy and I'm a product designer at ThinkHQ. And today we're going to be talking about affinity mapping. I wanted to show you today my process for affinity mapping, which will help you uncover the deeper truth and the greater meaning behind what users are saying when you're doing usability testing or user interviews. Why is this important? Because as user experience designers, we want to uncover meaningful insights about our users when we're doing research. And a good insight, it's surprising, it's challenging, it's delightful. It's not something that you would expect to find by just thinking about it. You need to take it to the next level. And affinity mapping is a great way to try and critically think about what your users are saying and find a pattern or a connection between a group of users. And usually this is to do with what users are telling you. So you could be doing a user interview or some usability testing, and you're trying to see a connection between what different users are saying. Because as a user experience designer, you can't take everything that a user is saying and turn it into features or turn it into an adjustment in the design. You have to find the 80% that is common to all users. To me, this alludes to the fact that as a user experience designer, it's your job to listen to what people are saying, but to take it to the next level. And if people say faster horses, what they really mean is they want to get to work on time. If people say, I wish petrol was cheaper, what they really mean is, I wish I had more money to buy a birthday present for my child. A lot of the time what people are saying to you is one thing, but what the deeper meaning is another thing. And affinity mapping is a great way to see a pattern across all of your users from which you can extract that deeper meaning. So let me show you briefly what affinity mapping looks like. I'm not going to show you right now the full process, but I just want to give a quick demonstration of how you can gather an insight from affinity mapping. So I'm just going to turn to my screen here. So here we have a Miro board with just a very, very simple, basic starting off point to show you what affinity mapping looks like. So we have 4 bits of information per person, and we have 2 people. Usually you'll have 5 to 10 people and 100 bits of information per person. So you can see how this can become quite a process. But you need to find the affinity between these 2 people. What do these 2 people have in common? And the topic of this interview was about ethical shopping. So let's read about person A. And what you'll notice is that people will tell you stories, and person A has a story and person B has a story, and we need to find what the similarities are. So person A, I care about family, friendships with people, romantic and platonic, some humanitarian issues only in immediate world, uni and work. Person A, they consider the aesthetics the most when buying things, and then the price. Does it look good, considering things like trends from TikTok, etc. So this is about, she's talking about buying clothes, ethical clothes. And she says, not doing anything to help the environment aside from recycling. I'm more focused on immediate things going on in my life. If she is doing these things as a full-time job, but really hard to do these things on the side, doesn't even have time to pursue hobbies, let alone humanitarian issues. Regarding ethical shopping, she's not actively doing something, she doesn't know what to do, and she can't be bothered. It's a very honest response from the user. And these are, by the way, snippets from an interview that I did a while ago. Now, person B, what's important to them is price. So if it's within a certain budget, they care about the quality, and then ethical considerations as well. They don't want to harm people with their shopping. They do care about sustainability and the environment, but it's difficult to find good options. So they don't want to have shoes made in Bangladesh, but they also don't want to go to 10 different shops to find shoes that are ethical, make sense, ethically made. They can't afford an electric car. They would like to live carbon neutral, but they can't. It's financially unachievable. And animals should be treated humanely. So, you know, this person seems to be a very ethically conscious person, very much aware of humanitarian and environmental issues. And this person is a little bit less preoccupied with these issues, but still has some kind of like considerations. So how do we find the affinity between these two people? Well, what I would usually do is first I would pick out the bits of information that are relevant and important to me right now. So if I'm trying to think about ethical shopping, all 4 of these are actually belong to the same category. But if there's 100 different sticky notes, you would pick out these 4 and you would put them in their own little category, and you can put a little rectangle around them and label them, you know, ethical shopping. Just so you know that that's what this category is about, because you might end up with, like, you know, 20 different categories with different topics. So then once you've kind of picked out the categories, you can start grouping these together. So I care about family relationships. This person doesn't really talk about family and relationships as much, but they consider aesthetics the most, and then price. This person talks about price and then quality, and then ethical considerations at the end. There's another thing here about price, so we can kind of put those like next to each other. They're kind of similar. And then this one here is similar to the one up here. So here we have not doing anything for the environment right now because they're preoccupied with their life, and it's too difficult to fit humanitarian issues in when you've got uni and work and all these other things. And then this person here, sustainability is important, but it's too hard finding, you know, the right things to buy. They don't want to go to 10 different shops. So let's talk about the affinity that these different post-it notes have. So the most important thing for the person when they're shopping is not, they don't go shopping with the intent of buying something ethical. They go shopping with the intent of finding something that says something about who they are in terms of clothing when you're buying fashion. So quality and price are more important than the ethical consideration. Does that mean that these people are bad people? No, it does not. So let's summarize that. We'll put a box around it and we'll give it a label. So we can say, I care about quality and price. So no, let's just call it quality and price. So that's the label. We can make this look a bit nicer at some point. And then underneath it, you could do a point of view statement. So that's a statement about from the point of view of the user to help you get more empathy for what their psychological state is. Generally speaking, across this group of users. In this case, we only have 2 users, so it doesn't, it's not complete, but it's just an example. So here I would say something like, while I try to do my best to be environmentally and ethically conscious, my primary consideration when shopping for clothes is aesthetics, quality, and price. So the users here, they're not bad people. They don't not care about the environment and humanitarian issues. But if you're going to spend $100 on a t-shirt, you want it to look good. And why do you want it to look good? Because it expresses something about who you are. So let's add that. Maybe as a second quote. Buying clothes is a statement about who I am and my personality. So that's why it's more important to have good aesthetics and to be able to afford it than ethical considerations. So when you're doing affinity mapping, I hope you could see in this process, there's 2 steps to it that are critical. The first step is how you categorize items and how you put them together according to the affinity that they have. The second step is your interpretation of the data. And that's an interpretive skill that requires critical thinking, and people will interpret things in different ways. So that's something that you can practice, and we'll talk a lot more about this in future videos, but I just wanted to give you a quick taste of what affinity mapping is in order to set you up for my next video, when I'll go through the note-taking process and I'll do a proper deep dive into the affinity mapping process.